Welcome home. Alright, so Fallout 76 just got probably the best update since launch today, as patch version 1.0.5, also known as patch 5, has now released today, January 29th, 2019. And why is this the best update since launch? Well, it fixes a lot of bugs, but on top of that, it adds a load of quality of life improvements, a load of balancing changes, and just overall really good things for the game. Now, these patch notes are really long as usual, so we're going to try to run through them as fast as possible. But before we go ahead and get into the actual patch notes, here's what Bethesda had to say about patch 5. Patch 5 is rolling out today with a number of balance and design changes, along with another large wave of bug fixes. All of this is possible thanks to your continued support and feedback on the game. As the game evolves, so do our patches. With patch 4 a few weeks ago, we added dev notes under some of our larger changes. We've done this to provide you with more context behind things like balance and design changes. We will also tackle additional questions as they come in, and we'll update this article as needed. Additionally, we've been working on a known issues post that we plan to keep updated as we fix existing bugs, acknowledge and address any new issues that arise, and roll out changes to the game based on your feedback. Which sounds like amazing news for Fallout 76, because with this post, we'll know how well they're listening to the issues that are arising in the game and what they plan on fixing in the short and long term. So I'm really excited for that. I cannot wait to see how massive this post is going to be. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the updates coming with patch 5. So the download sizes for today's patch will be approximately 3.5 gigabytes on consoles and around 500 megabytes for PC. On PC, it's version 1.0.5.10, PS4 it's 1.0.5.9, and Xbox is 1.0.5.7. For general, we have the typical several additional improvements have been made to in-game performance, and the Fallout 76 game client and servers have received additional stability improvements. This is going to be left in every single one of the patch notes, so just a heads up. For balance changes, there's actually quite a bit. So first off, for perks, we've got the damage bonuses provided by each rank of the Demolition Expert perk have been reduced from plus 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, 100% to 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60% to match other weapon perk damage bonuses. We've also got the condition loss bonuses provided by each rank of the White Knight and Licensed Plumber perks being reduced from 30%, 60%, 90% to 20%, 40%, 60%, and their repair bonuses have also been reduced to match the Power Patcher perk. They also left us a dev note for this one saying, in looking at the Demolition Expert, White Knight, and Licensed Plumber perks, we felt they have so far been overperforming in their current roles, and we wanted to bring them more in line with similar perks to help prevent them from feeling like mandatory picks. For weapon balancing, the Explosive Legendary mod's damage bonus has been reduced from plus 100% to plus 20% of base weapon damage, with explosive radius damage. The two-shot Legendary effects damage bonus has also been reduced from plus 100% to plus 25% of base weapon damage. They also gave us a dev note here saying, as mentioned in a previous Inside the Vault article, both the explosive mod and the two-shot weapons could result in dealing very high amounts of damage, and this was compounded if two-shot and explosive were combined. We've decided to tone both of these damage bonuses back. And for our last weapon balance change, flamers, cryolators, plasma weapons, and laser weapons can no longer spawn with the Explosive Legendary mod. They also gave us a dev note for this one saying, the explosive mod causes weapons to fire bullets that are explosive. The weapons listed above don't fire bullets, so we've temporarily removed the ability for them to spawn that mod applied so we can make some adjustments. For camp, crafting, and workshops, we have a change to scrapping, as loose weapon and armor mods are now protected from auto-scrapping when crafting. However, they can still be scrapped manually if a player wants to break them down into scrap components. For turrets, an owned tag will now appear next to the names of the turrets a player has built in their camp or a workshop. For design and gameplay changes, they made a huge change to carry weights, as it is now capped to an absolute limit of 1,500 pounds over the character's current maximum carry weight. So for example, if your carry weight limit is, say, 210 pounds, then your maximum limit is 1,710 pounds. This is really good for the future of Fallout 76, as it means duping and everything won't cause as much server issues as it is right now. People won't be allowed hitting 1 million million plus carry weights, which is just ridiculous right now. And I'm not over exaggerating. People are literally hitting over 1 million carry weight right now. So to clarify, characters will be unable to exceed this new weight limit moving forward, and characters who already exceed this limit will be unable to add any additional items or caps to their inventories until they have reduced their carry weight below the cap. So what they're saying right here is you will not be able to pick up any new items or earn any more caps if your carry weight is already above this. So unless I'm not thinking correctly, that means you have to drop all of your duped items, as you can't sell them and you can't scrap them, as you can't add any new items to your inventory, but they still can't sell everything because vendors have a very low amount of caps, and then they won't be able to pick those items back up. So they're screwing over the dupers here, which is actually a really good thing. So as a dev note, this is what they had to say. These limits exist primarily to keep servers from performing poorly, which can happen if we have too many items in the game world. They also play a role in helping to regulate the in-game economy. We do recognize the desire to be able to own more of the cool items that we have in-game, and we are looking into a variety of solutions, including increasing the stash size. We will be sure to talk more about this when they are ready. And this is really good news, because the reason why a lot of people use the carry weight exploits, or at least used to use the carry weight exploits, was because they couldn't fit the cool items that they had in both their player inventory and the stash, because there is just such a low limit. And things weigh a lot in Fallout 76. So this is really good news that they're working on a solution. I really hope they can increase the stash size by quite a good amount so that you can throw some unique weapons and unique armor and some really good legendary stuff inside your stash. We can't have it be too high, otherwise it just brings in having loads of items again, but I would love to see a massive increase. For cap stashes, to help address cap exploits, cap stashes have now been turned into containers, which allows them to properly reset and provides players with instanced loot. So now you should be able to get cap stashes even if another player has come across them. I think overall this is a really good change, as there were a lot of people abusing cap stashes, just running around and farming them and loading into new servers. So the fact that they're going to properly reset now as they're treated as a container and also provide players with instant loot, I think this is a really good change. For plans and recipes, when viewing a plan or recipe in a menu, a known tag will appear next to the name of recipes and plans the player has already learned. This is a highly requested feature that I am so glad is finally in the game. The amount of times that I would waste my caps on a recipe or a plan that I didn't know I had, I didn't remember learning it whatsoever, or the amount of times I was trying to figure out which items I should drop and which items I should keep, I always had to go manually one by one to see if I had learned them. So this is a quality of life improvement that literally everyone wanted in the game. And for vendors, recipes and plans in vendor inventories are no longer randomized and can now be reliably sourced from those vendors, with the exception of some minor workshop and camp plans. This is amazing news, as now you can kind of get an idea of where you can get certain recipes and plans. There's still going to be some sort of randomization for some of the minor workshop and camp plans, but for the most part, you should be able to find the same recipes and plans in certain locations, which is really good news, as a lot of people have really bad luck, including myself, on trying to find the recipes and plans that they're looking for, loading server after server after server, never being able to find it. As some additional notes, the appearance of many plans and recipes in vendor inventories is based on player level, and they will show up once the proper level has been reached. Additional structural plans for wall sets, power connectors, doors, generators, and water purifiers have also been added to some vendors. All of this is really good news for the game, and man, it's getting me excited for the future. As for PvP changes, we got one change, and that is to Hunter Hunted. A server-wide message will now appear when a player joins the Hunter/Hunted queue, and man, wow. One huge issue with the PvP in the base game was the one true opportunity for a good PvP experience in the current mode, the survival mode, was Hunter versus Hunted. However, nobody is ever in it. Nobody's ever in the queue, and since nobody's ever in it, nobody ever wants to join it, which means nobody's ever gonna play it. You'd pretty much never find a server with even a single person queuing for it. So just as some notes, this message will only be displayed once per player to avoid spam. So someone can't leave it and then join it, leave it and then join it over and over again to spam the server. An additional server-wide message will be displayed when Hunter/Hunted is ready to begin in order to give other players a final chance to join. All of this is really good news. And for quests and event changes, I'm getting really excited for this one. As Belly of the Beast, a new Ultra Sight Power Armor entry has been added to Tegrity's terminal on the top floor of Fort Defiance, offering Ultra Sight Power Armor plans to those who read it. Now, the reason why this is such good news is because I know a lot of people that either sold this armor or scrapped this armor and they want it back because they didn't know it was a unique. For First Contact, a new miscellaneous objective will now appear upon reaching the Overseer's camp for the first time, prompting the player to place a camp of their own. For the Golly Mine, a new miscellaneous objective will now appear at Golly Mine to introduce players to ore deposits, as a lot of people still don't even know that these things exist, which is really surprising as it's a huge feature in the game and a lot of people are missing out on it. And lastly, for Monster Mash, the amount of XP awarded per round during this event has been reduced from 350 to 100. Moving on to bug fixes. Again, this update has a lot of bug fixes, so we're going to run through these really damn fast. For art and graphics, we got some lighting changes, as lighting no longer flickers throughout Arctos Pharma. For apparel, fix an issue that could cause a character's legs to show through the rose dress while it is equipped. For camp crafting and workshops, we got a bug fix for artillery. They fix an issue that could prevent artillery from being placed in valid locations. For blueprints, address an issue preventing players from placing a stored blueprint containing posts that were placed partially underground when the blueprint was originally saved. We got a bug fix for the budget, as scrapping a stored blueprint that contained wires will now correctly remove those wires from the camp budget. They fixed 2 exploits, one of which they addressed an exploit that could allow players to duplicate their stored blueprints, and they also addressed an exploit that could allow players to reduce their carry weight to a negative value, again solving the carry weight exploit. We got a fix for foundations, as they fix an issue that could cause a cannot place item needs support message to display when editing a partially floating foundation. We got a fix for power armor stations, as players can no longer view power armor they do not own when attempting to access the power armor station that's occupied by another player. Really confusing, but good. We got 2 fixes for scrapping, one of which is ignition cores crafted for the Earth Mover event are no longer automatically scrapped when using the scrap all junk option at the workbench, and junk items that need to be manually scrapped are no longer automatically scrapped for components when attempting to craft. We also got a bug fix for stored objects, as repeatedly attempting to place an atomic shop variant of an object the player had stored but does not own no longer prevents them from placing other variants. For structures, fix an issue that could prevent a camp or workshop structure from being edited when building levels had been merged or split several times. This fix is not retroactive and will not apply to structures built prior to today's patch. And for terminals, power terminals contained within a stored blueprint now work correctly when the blueprint is placed in a new location. For challenges, collect holotape games. Nuka Tapper sub-challenge can now be completed by playing the Nuka Tapper holotape game. For formal wear challenges, pantsuit and short suit now correctly count as formal wear when completing challenges. Gather building supplies. The scrap items to produce fertilizer condition has been updated to collect fertilizer and can be completed by salvaging or crafting it using spoiled fruits, vegetables, and meat. And we also got a fix for learn cooking recipes, as this challenge will now recognize many additional cooking recipes when they are learned for the first time. Retroactive credit will not be awarded for recipes learned prior to today's patch, but that is planned for a future update, so just keep that in mind. For enemy bug fixes, we got a fix for AI, as they fix an issue in which some enemies could chase the player farther than intended and become frozen in place. They fix an exploit, addressing several XP exploits by adding a limit to the maximum amount of XP granted by a single kill, and a fix for looting, as they fix an issue that could prevent players from looting goo and ash piles after killing an enemy with a laser or plasma weapon. For general bug fixes, they fixed loading, as they fixed several issues that could cause players' body parts, equipped apparel, or armor to become temporarily invisible to other nearby players or teammates after loading into a world, aka missing body parts, or becoming naked. They fixed an issue that prevented the monorail elevator near the edge of Cranberry Bog from taking players to the top floor. The Scorched Earth event has received optimization improvements. On laptops with more than one graphics card, Fallout 76 will now default to using the dedicated graphics card rather than an integrated card, and launching the traditional or simplified Chinese game clients on Xbox One no longer causes a 6-second hitch when the launch video begins to play. For item bug fixes, using multiple explosive bobbleheads no longer causes their effects to stack. Address an exploit that could allow players to duplicate items using modus vendors. Address an exploit in which the vampire legendary effect could restore health through unintended means. Removed magazines from several locations where they were unintentionally guaranteed to spawn. They also fixed an issue with tomahawks, as you will no longer become stuck in midair after striking a hostile creature or player. The magazine Guns and Bullets number 5 now correctly provides bonus components when scrapping weapons, but no longer specifies a 50% increase. And the magazine Tesla Science number 6 now correctly grants bonus rad resistance. For Rad-X, consuming multiple Rad-X or diluted Rad-X no longer causes their effects to stack. For health bonuses, a player with very low health who unequips an item that provides bonus health will no longer be instantly killed if removing that item that would cause their health to drop to or below 0. They also fixed multiple issues with paper bags, in which transferring items into an empty paper bag as the bag was despawning caused those items to become lost forever. For the Pip-Boy, they fixed a rare issue that could cause a character's Pip-Boy to go missing. And for power armor, entering a suit of power armor no longer occasionally causes it to become invisible to nearby players. So hopefully now all the power armor bugs are gone out of the game. As for perk bug fixes, we got a fix for Butcher's Bounty. Searching a dead tick with the Butcher's Bounty perk equipped can now correctly produce additional tick blood. We got a fix for Cap Collector, as it now requires players to search cap stashes, much like other perks that grant a search option for containers. Because keep in mind, cap stashes are now treated as containers. They also fixed a perk exploit, as they addressed an exploit affecting the Curator perk. We got a fix for Fireproof, as flame attack damage reduction provided by the Fireproof perk now correctly applies to Molotov fire damage. We got a fix for Serendipity. A notification will now appear on screen and sound effects will play whenever the Serendipity perk's effects are triggered. We got a fix for Super Duper, so that it can no longer trigger when crafting quest items. I actually had this issue plenty of times. And we got a fix for Traveling Pharmacy, as it now correctly applies its weight reduction effects to Radaway, Diluted Radaway, Stim Packs, Diluted Stim Packs, Blood Packs, Glowing Blood Packs, Disease Cures, and Antibiotics. For PvP bug fixes, we got a fix for respawning, as they fixed an issue that could prevent a player who was killed in water from correctly ending PvP upon respawning. For stealth, they address an issue in which stealth damage bonuses could still be applied by a sneaking player's attacks during PvP, even if that player was within their target's direct line of sight. And we also got a fix for the wanted status, as they fixed an issue that could cause the bounty amount for a wanted player to appear halved on the map when approaching that player in the game world. The Meteoric Sword now correctly has a slim chance to spawn in containers during the Breach and Clear event. For early warnings, quest progress will no longer become stuck when crafting upgraded motors, and logging out after crafting upgraded motors will no longer reset the quest tracker to 0 to 5. We got 2 event fixes, first of which is fix an issue that could allow a player to simultaneously join 2 different events, and the second is fast traveling after joining an event will now correctly remove the player from that event and will no longer prevent them from joining proximity events at their fast travel destination. We got a fix for Flavors of Mayhem. Rose will no longer occasionally play unrelated voiceover lines when attempting to turn in Flavors of Mayhem, and the player is no longer prevented from correctly completing the quest. For Signal Strength, they fixed an issue that could prevent Rose's introductory voiceover lines from playing when the player approaches top of the world. And we also got a fix for Second Helpings, as an area marker will now appear for the Find Delbert Winters in Flatwoods objective to better inform players about their options for proceeding through the quest. For Survival, we got a fix for one of the diseases, as the Radworm's disease now correctly increases rad damage taken by 50%. And for our sound bug fix, weapons with the Breathe sound effect will now play correctly when activating the hold breath option while zoomed. And for our last section of the patch notes, user interface bugs. For display, Fallout 76 will now auto-detect AMD 7900 and 8900 series and AMD Radeon R9 200 series graphics cards. For the field of view, they address an issue causing camera clipping near walls when using a very high field of view setting. For hotkeys, Fallout 76 now better supports French AZERTY keyboard layouts, and the game's controls will adjust accordingly. accordingly. We also got another fix for hotkeys, as while using a French AZERTY keyboard, the / key can now properly be rebound in the controls menu. We got a fix for loading screens, as they fix an issue that could cause loading screens to appear cut off or black at different resolutions when entering a building's interior. For the map, character levels no longer appear truncated on the map for players over level 100, so now you'll actually be able to see what level they are if they're above level 100. For nameplates, they fix an issue that prevented player nameplates from appearing while inside the nuke zone during the Scorched Earth event. Another fix for nameplates is they fix an issue that prevented the crown icon from displaying next to legendary enemy nameplates. We got 3 bug fixes for social, as on the Xbox One, after sending a friend request to another player, a notification will now display to confirm that friend request has been sent. The invite to team option no longer appears for players who have already joined the team, and if an attempt to fast travel to a friend or teammate using the social menu fails due to nearby enemies, the player will now be notified by an error message that states you cannot fast travel when enemies are nearby. We got 2 trading bug fixes, first of which is decrease the wait time required between trades when making multiple trades with another player. If players attempt to make multiple trades too quickly, a new trade failed due to frequency, wait a moment and try again error message will now display rather than the previous trade failed on server message. And the second is fix an issue on PC that could cause the player's cursor to appear on both sides of a trade menu at the same time. For tutorials, new players will now receive a tutorial message informing them of the change appearance option in the main menu. We got 2 VATS related bug fixes, as VATS now selects targets more consistently across different field of view values. For example, VATS will no longer target enemies that are visible in peripheral vision at high FOV values, but would be off-screen at default FOV values. This fix will help prevent VATS from being an advantage to players who use high FOV settings. And the second fix being fix an issue that could cause the VATS interface to rapidly flicker on and off. We also got a fix for voice chat. They fix an issue preventing the speaker icon from appearing to others while a player is speaking over voice chat. And lastly, workshop previews. The player's current atom balance no longer appears truncated when viewing an atomic shop item in the workshop preview at 16:10 and 21:9 resolutions. And that is everything included in the 1.0.5 update for Fallout 76. A huge update that is jam-packed with not only bug fixes, exploit fixes, but also balance changes and quality of life improvements for the game overall. This is a really good update for Fallout 76. And if they can continue with huge updates like this, Fallout 76 is a bright future. Doesn't matter if you hate the game right now, doesn't matter if you hate this game a couple updates from now, this game has a bright future. It may not be a couple of months from now that everyone will like it, but I feel like this is going to turn into a really good game, as Bethesda Game Studios Austin seems to know where they're wanting to head with Fallout 76 moving forward. So be sure to let me know your thoughts on this update down in the comments section below. What is your favorite part of this update? I'd love to see what you have to say, but that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please smack that like button down below, subscribe to join the good fight if you haven't already, and ring the bell icon to stay updated on all of my future videos. It'd be super greatly appreciated as always, and until next time, this is Epoxy, signing off.